Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today we're looking at a general update of what's being worked on for Alpha 3.0 coming at the end of March, as well as a deeper dive into how they currently look at ship weapon balance. Recently the studios have been focused on Alpha 3.0.1, getting 3.0's features polished up to a level that is better than they currently are, getting them up to scratch, and trying to generally improve performance for Alpha 3.1. They've been improving their processes and development procedures too when it comes to each feature they build. Now teams from multiple disciplines will all work together to fully complete a task where possible from start to finish, rather than having teams work on parts of a feature in isolation. They looked at around 25 issues for the Alpha 3.0.1 patch that we had go live recently, and they were able to get it to Eva Carty to live within a week. They have been working on the white box common elements for persistent hangars in the persistent universe, with a focus for truck stops. Those are the modular space stations of the future, but this is going to be where our ships land or are stored in a lot of cases in the future. But these parts will be reused in lots of other hangar and area situations. Planets will have hangars too. Both stations and planets may have different ways of landing in them. You can land in the side or through the roof, whatever is potentially the best option for a particular station or planet. Hangars will come in various sizes as well, from small to massive. They are continuing to flesh out FPS weapons with the R97 shotgun. It's a ballistic versatile weapon with various fire modes for short and longer range blasts. The VMA and PMA on the Mobilglass, the Vehicle Manager app and the Personal Manager app, the way that you customize your character and vehicle with armor, gear, weapons, components and all that sort of stuff, required a lot more work after 3.0. So they're focusing on the vehicle system and customization of that currently. They're going to be improving the UI and user experience for these Mobilglass apps, as they were quite lacking what they should have been in 3.0. They've shown a bit more of character customization in its first iteration in 3.1 now. You're going to be able to change your head, skin tone, eye color, hairstyle and hair color as well. These changes will be persistent, but when and how often you can change your look is still to be determined. They are converting the remaining items into Item System 2.0 as well, and into Data Forge, which is going to allow for much more simple, easy management of that system and changes in the future, whether that be balance changes or optimizations as well. This then takes advantage of batch updates, update culling, and various other optimizations too, which are going to make Star Citizen feel and play a lot better. This helps free up the main CPU threads in this particular case by moving bits onto other threads, so they are going to make more and more use of multiple cores in CPUs. Range and network culling will be coming in the future too, for some big gains. Weapon balance. So weapon balancing is part of a cycle with shields, health, armor, components, weapons, and flight that all needs to be balanced, but they all affect each other massively. Any stats changes will impact that whole chain and how effective certain weapons, ships, tactics, and metas are, and how the game plays. They want the game to feel fun and competitive, but with a lot of variation in meta. No king weapons, no single only options for particular builds. Balance for weapons looks at a lot of things, as well as their upsides, downsides, whether it be scatter for certain weapons, the amount of energy they draw, or the amount of heat they produce, the amount of DPS they get out per second compared to how much damage they do in a single hit. They want stats and suggestions to be shown in-game for weapons, so you kind of know what weapons do what without having to go to external websites. You'll be able to pick the weapons and equipment that you want for particular tasks, and there are naturally going to be better loadouts and weapons for different jobs. However, as I said, they do want a varied meta. Originally, ships didn't have armor, and their ship health kind of reflected their toughness. Now, with the new system, ship health is scaled to the size of the ship, and armor are what makes parts of the ships tougher. They take basically less damage. It's damage mitigation from armor, and that's scaled for civilian to military ships. The way that armor works basically is that it's a multiplier on damage taken. So civilian armor is roughly 0.9, so it mitigates a small amount of armor, whereas military ships might have a figure around 0.7 or 0.6, producing a lot of incoming damage. There are baseline values for each role of ship they sort of roughly set, with racers probably being the weakest in terms of armor, but all ships will have a more dialed in armor value too, based more on their precise role or intention. The Super Hornet, for example, has more armor than the standard Hornet. Armor and ship health is only relevant for damage through shields, so obviously projectiles can penetrate through shields sometimes, or after shields are down. You're not going to have that damage mitigation on the shields. For example, where the shields are down and then a Gladius is getting shot over a 300i getting shot, although they have the same health, the Gladius has more armor and will take more of a beating before it dies. Also, having that system allows them to tweak ship health effectively by changing armor. So pirate ships can have weaker armor, but be flying the same ship as a player. And they can go, oh, pirate armor is trashier armor, or weaker armor, or damaged armor, or whatever. Armor also helps or hinders weapon locks based on its size or stealthiness, and so armor is an item portent that can be changed on some ships. So you can have different types of armor. You can steal the void armor from the Hornet Ghost and put it on another Hornet, for example. But there's going to be some options there as well when it comes to armor. There's not just, this is the ship hull, you can never change it. They can modify ship health or weapon damage further for particular events in Squadron 42 or other purposes if they so desire. It's just, this is a very simple modular way of making everything fair and easily changed without having to do that. Balance goes through steps and iterations. It's also partly based on how the community uses certain mechanics, or how metas form, or what the community want, or what the original intention of particular ships and weapons are. Some issues like network performance or other bugs can skew balance, where it wouldn't be appropriate to make a weapon more powerful necessarily if an problem with ESP and aiming is causing weapons to miss and therefore not do so much damage because they're missing, if you see what I mean. That's not a weapon balance problem, that's a bug problem, that's an ESP problem. And they look at flight, they look at the UIs, they look at all the other features when changing weapon numbers because they don't want to change them if that's the wrong thing to do. Some balance is extremely easy. Typos and decimal points get placed in the wrong place sometimes. Others are incredibly in-depth and complex, and they get stuff wrong sometimes, definitely. And lots of stuff is tested as well when it comes to weapon balance. They go, well, let's test this particular thing. The current 3 types of weapon damage they've got in game are energy, distortion, and then kinetic/physical. It's the kind of the same thing. They're also planning to add 1 or 2 more in the future, allowing for more choice and a more rich, complex meta. I believe the one they're definitely going to be adding is plasma, I believe. But for them, thought into how you play and the loadouts you choose for specific situations are incredibly important, but they do not want a best loadout for all situations, full stop kind of thing. They do not want people going, well, I've got all military A-class gear now, that is the best for all situations. Balancing methods are going to change as time goes on too, so bear that in mind. This is very much how they're currently balancing things. Every month we have a giveaway for a ship. For February, it's a luxury 890 jump donated by our featured org, Synchronizers. They are an org that plan to encompass all of the gameplay that Star Citizen has to offer as it offers it, though they do oppose piracy. And they seek members to add to their mature family of both casual and hardcore players alike, but there are no real other restrictions on membership other than that. Links below if you're interested in checking them out. They have an active Discord and are playing Star Citizen now that you can get involved with. Woo! All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that 890 jump, though, is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my Star Citizen content during the month, including this video. Do you have any questions about what we talked about Star Citizen or Squadron 42's development, gameplay mechanics, suggestions for videos, or questions you want to ask? Chuck them in the comments below. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. I've just started giving some extra things to Patreons at the higher levels, and I'm going to start doing some exclusive videos for everyone and some exclusive little Q&As and things like that as well. So now's a great time to get on Patreon. Woo, sell out to myself. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse. Also, the Patreon links are down below. That's why I was selling out.